Hello everybody and welcome back to another Jollymun Podcast with Alfie Carter. This is the 24th podcast on the 30th of April 2020. 3420, and I'm really, I don't usually feel so excited to do a podcast. Usually I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I say, Alfie, you should record a podcast today. Then of course I get round to it most of the time. But today I was walking down the steps, and my stairs, not steps, I think steps are outside, stairs are indoors. And I was just like, wow, I've got the energy. I feel great. I feel like doing a podcast. And if you're listening to this, well, look, there's no secrets there about whether I went fourth or not. And so it's a bit drab. It's just started raining, but it's kind of got like a funniness to it. I feel like there's always some humour in how the environment is. Like, it's just raining. Everyone's indoors. It's just kind of funny. I think I'm also someone who finds it really funny when things are in a bad situation. Whenever something's awful, it's always for me like the funniest thing. It's like, I don't know if it's like, would you call it a coping mechanism, but I think it's just I also quite like it's absurdity, isn't it? You see things, some people see it in a certain way, and I see it's usually quite absurd and funny. Like when me and my friend were in France on a holiday. Well, it was like a hitchhiking holiday, like whatever. And on our last night, we were lying in a car park, in a French car park in the French suburbs, kind of like a little town, and there was a dog barking. My friend was getting pissed off. Well, my friend Nalin, we were cooking bacon in our trangia. The bacon smelled divine. The dogs were going nuts. Also, they don't treat their dogs very nicely in France. They're kind of locked up anyway. So the dogs are rabid. They're flying around the garden. Their tails are oscillating tremendously. And my friend was getting pissed because the dogs were going to bait us out. It was just really funny. I was just laughing. It's very enjoyable. Also, the food we made was good. And because I worked something out that night, and then later on, Gordon Ramsay told me about it, but I'd already known it, but it hadn't been explained to me. So I had bacon in this trangia, and it left like it kind of left like the fat, I believe, came out of the bacon and stuck to the bottom of the pan, and it wasn't burnt, but it kind of the liquid had boiled off it, so it was just like quite it was pasty on the bottom of the pan. It was stuck, and I was like, oh my god, that's going to be a nightmare to wash up. We've barely got much water. I'm going to have to use our drinking water in this car park in France at midnight. And then I poured the tomato like tin tomatoes in, and it like acidified the bottom. I don't know, like electrolysis, when like the copper moves to the other side. It was kind of like that. It was all just clean. Oh man, I was so happy. Couldn't believe it. So that's an example where I find things really funny, like a pretty dire circumstance. Humor's quite good like that. I just finished a book called Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. It was a really amazing book. It was so funny. It was so funny. Satirical and kind of sarcastic in a way. Really loved it. And I'll tell you what, this is podcast 24 now. It's 22 where I talked about the mice. I keep bumping into mice in my house, people. I keep finding them. I was just sitting on the sofa, right, chilling, and we've got like this kind of plastic wooden floor. Like, it looks wooden. I think it's wooden, but it's definitely got some kind of polymer going on there, intertwined. And I just hear like scutter, 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 because of course the mouse's nails are hard and my floor is hard, so you get like a collision there. And the mouse was just standing in the middle of the floor, and because I was sitting still, because I wasn't present. I was on my phone, so I'm away. My body's static. It's kind of tragic, really. I wasn't on Earth, and then I like moved a bit because I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then it fucking ran off. It pissed me off because it shouldn't be there. I just felt really abused. It wasn't fair. The mouse shouldn't be there. It doesn't understand that it shouldn't be there. It's just, you just kind of feel vulnerable, I suppose. I think vulnerables are really, you don't really like feeling it, I think in the kitchen as well every now and then. It's really, really sad. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be fine. I mean, mice aren't too harmful. They probably just carry diseases. Because there's a big disease going around. I'm sure the mouse won't be too effective. That's why we're all indoors. Maybe the mice have been reading the news also, and that's why they've come indoors. You never know. They got little TV remotes. It's only got 2 buttons. I don't know how many fingers they have. I think it's 3. I don't want to get too close enough to be able to tell. Probably bite me. Yeah, it's really unpleasant idea. But yeah, I mean, I've been going out for lots of walks yesterday. I bought fruit. I forgot to buy a pineapple, man. That's a real bad move. Real bad move. Also, outside Tesco, there have been more and more homeless people. It's kind of odd. I think, well, because there's a queue, I actually just, I fully just sounded like I was having like a conversation, and the other person was like, "Oh, why?" So, well, I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm not going to do it again. But I had a conversation with myself just then. It's kind of odd, like an actual conversation, not just me doing a little monologue or soliloquy. But yeah, like it seems like people are just turning up and asking for money, but then I don't know, and I don't want to be too cynical. I feel like people. This is something I was thinking about when I was in the line. Is that I feel like people are more likely to give money to a goddamn wishing well than, or like, like a little, there's a little water fountain. It's like, oh, throw pennies in, throw money in, oh, you get lucky. People are more likely to give money to that than like a homeless person, which is kind of a surreal. Well, it's not even surreal. It even makes sense to me. That's how weird and how far away from compassion we've got. That to me just kind of makes sense. It's really homeless people. It really does. It kind of. It's one thing that I find really, really odd, is how much as a group we are kind of just used to it, and how we just don't even see them as like people. It's really weird. Anyway, but hopefully one day I'll get to a point in my life. Well, I mean, the thing is, this is the fucking problem. Hopefully, one point I'll be at a point in my life where I can help. I mean, God, I can fucking help them right now. All I need is 10 quid. I could go down, buy a massive loaf of bread. I could fill it with. I could make like, I don't know, like 20 sandwiches for like £10, and I could just go and give it to them. But I'm so dumb. I'm so fucking self-obsessed that I don't do that, and none of us do it. It's so annoying. Then I have to have the balls to say that I don't have the capabilities to do it now. Yikes! How awful. Yeah. I think I'm gonna when I'm older. Oh God, maybe I should just do it now. Once a week. How about this? Once a week, I buy a loaf of bread. I buy some butter. I buy some ham. I buy some cheese. I buy bags of apples, and I make sandwiches. I'm gonna start doing that. I promise. I'm gonna write it down right now. Homeless sandwiches. Could wrap it up in like tissue paper or something, so I don't want to give away. I guess I could do tin foil. Yeah, or I don't do cling film. It might get. I'll put it in tissues because then they can blow. They can. I don't know. Maybe they need to wipe their ass or something. Could help them. Oh man, it's so weird. Anyway, enough morbid topics. It's actually so. There's nothing happening. Like, the most exciting things I've talked about on my podcast is the fact that I've got a fucking rodent infestation. How about, let's tell a story about, let's try and think of something funny. Nah, it might bomb. I sound like I'm trying to be funny and that's just awkward. Imagine, frogs, no, it's just going to sound wacky and unfunny. I don't know. Trees? No. You know, trees are kind of symmetrical in a way if you just minus the leaves, right? So imagine a tree. Yeah, just imagine winter. There we are. Imagine a tree in winter, right? Now imagine. You see how the branches, they all kind of spread out and they've all got like thinner. They get thinner and they spread out. You know, like a not honeycomb, like a wine glass, I suppose, or like a gauntlet. No, not a gauntlet. It's a glove. Like a plunger, right? And underneath the ground, the roots spread out and they spread out and they spread out like a plunger as well. So the tree's symmetrical through the middle. It's kind of cool. Like up and down below. Kind of interesting. It's also kind of. Don't know what else. What else can I think of? Apparently. I was looking into buying a narrowboat and we were just kind of exploring that kind of adventure, you know, being that guy chugging up and down the going up and down the canals, being all cute. People looking in my little low windows and saying they've all got like these hanging little kind of netted things with like onions in them. So I'm going to be one of those. Onions, garlic. Maybe you'll look in, you'll see a pumpkin on the side. You'll be like, oh, look how good for the environment that man is. That's how they are. All wooden surfaces, pretty cool. But I think it's actually a lot more expensive than, because to me it would make sense that it's cheaper than buying a house, but it isn't. I need to do more research, but from what I've read, it's kind of actually a bit more difficult. Also, you're going to lose value on the boat, whereas for the house, the room becomes more and more valuable. So all these things I need to work out. Need to work these all out. That's what. Yeah. Man, it's goddamn. Okay, that's so. So I applied for a job at Lidl earlier, right? And even just to have a Lidl account so that I can apply, my password has to have fucking capital letter, number, crazy letter, and obviously can you use the 8th letter of the Greek alphabet at some point in your password? It's like, why? Why does it have to be so encrypted? Who's hacking into my Lidl account? You're gonna hack into my Lidl account. Oh, I know what I'll do. That little survey that they do where they have to say what they do in a retail scenario. Maybe I'll say a stupid one. I'll say a stupid one for Alfie, and then Alfie won't get to work the night shifts in Finsbury Park. I mean, come on. I'll say something like, you see Marcus on aisle, in the vegetable aisle, has dropped, this is a co-worker of course, has dropped the raspberry compote, and he needs someone to sweep it up. Would you A, sweep it up, B, tell Marcus he's a prick, and then rub the raspberry beret on his forehead, right? Or, don't know, just pretend you didn't see it, even though he's crying in the middle of the aisle because he's dropped his favourite raspberry beret compote. And then maybe they put the 4th one, which is don't know, what could the 4th one be? Wow, I'm really unfunny. I don't know, light a candle in respect to the raspberry compote. I my life needs to amp up. I need to get doing things, because then my brain frees up as well. Otherwise I'm just sitting here. I was trying to write a poem actually, but it's pretty difficult. Again, another thing I can't do effectively. It's just the words. You need to find the right words, but I find it difficult to make them all work together, because I've got some words I'm like, I like this bit, and then I don't like that bit, but then I like that bit and I like that bit, but they don't really quite work together. It's like a Rubik's Cube. I can never do Rubik's Cubes. Unlike Guinness World Records or YouTube, you see those videos where it's like this man, they're often like I don't know, they're just like the fastest ever upside down man with no legs doing 3 Rubik's Cubes underwater without a snorkel, and you're just like, what? I mean, I get it, you can do Rubik's Cubes, but was that really, and did that, think how much money it costs to have a dude with a clipboard standing next to him with his little scuba goggles on? Maybe he's even got a little oxygen tank and he's underneath the water with a waterproof biro seeing if the no-legged man's cheating or not. I mean, it's quite fun, really. Me saying that kind of implies that I think that other certification is necessary, all the kind of oh, you've done this, so we're going to give you this grade, or we're going to give you that grade. It's all the same, really, one and the same. Anyway, everybody, I hope that you can learn how to do Rubik's Cubes unlike myself, and maybe one day you'll trump that man's record. Maybe you'll cut 3 seconds off it. It's quite a lot, actually. He's pretty quick, that guy with the no legs. He's really quick, actually. Maybe you'll be able to knock a second off, or you'll be a happy second. And thank you for listening, and it's very nice to be here. Goodbye.